Viewers across the country may have noticed a new promo during the local news, their own anchors speaking out against fake news. Hello and welcome to a Talking Points Webisode. Sinclair Broadcast Group forced its anchors to record a promo it wrote condemning the one-sided journalism, fake news, and lack of fact-checking at other news outlets. Since the news about the promo broke, some Sinclair anchors have shared anonymous stories about their discomfort with being forced to record this promo. Sinclair owns nearly 200 local television stations, and the video compilation of Sinclair anchors reading the promo has since gone viral.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and trending of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Here to discuss the video and the conversation surrounding local news is Talking Points analyst Dan Prager. Dan, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Your initial gut reaction to that compilation?
My initial gut reaction is that is the definition of propaganda. That is a media executive, somebody with a lot of power, using that power to spread a message telling people sort of what to think. And that message itself isn't necessarily a bad message. It's just saying, you know, we're trustworthy and we want to make sure that you don't do fake news. But it does become problematic in the sense that, one, it's sort of implicitly accusing other news outlets of being biased, and two, the fact that Sinclair is being pretty hypocritical here. They're known as a network that has a conservative bent, and that they kind of tell their anchors sometimes to promote more conservative stories.
And like you said a lot of power, and that's something I want to touch on, because a lot of times we think of local news, one station, one market, you know, not as big as some of the national outlets, but that was a lot of anchors there. Yeah. How does Sinclair compare to something like a cable news outlet?
And I mean, there are a lot more anchors than that had to read that thing. I think the big difference between Sinclair's their conservative bent and Fox News or an MSNBC with their liberal bent, the big difference is that when you're watching cable news, you know what to expect. You kind of know, all right, this is the conservative news outlet, this is the liberal, this is the more moderate or combative. But with local news, it's not advertised as Sinclair News. It's just CBS, ABC, Fox News, Channel, whatever, 4, 5, 7. You don't know what you're getting. Local news is supposed to be kind of non-biased. You're learning about your town and a little bit about the world around you, but you're watching it just to kind of stay informed. It's supposed to be this own self-contained thing. You don't know what the media boss in front of it. A lot of people think it's just a really local station. They don't know that these media bosses control it. And while Sinclair, they have that, whatever, 170, 180 stations around the country that are able to spread out this message, but people don't know that.
Right, and somebody who watches cable news a lot, or at least talks about it a lot, is President Trump, and he tweeted about this, saying the fake news networks need to stop criticizing Sinclair. How does President Trump play into this?
I mean, yeah. President Trump, it's not really anything other than it's just kind of promoting the story a little bit more. The one thing you might get from this is that President Trump is giving the okay to Sinclair they're talking about an acquisition of Tribune, and the only thing you can really get for this is that Sinclair might want to keep pushing ahead for that. But again, like I said, most people don't know what is and isn't Sinclair. And unless they're active enough to look up, is my station Sinclair, they're not going to really know that if President Trump supports it or opposes it and what they should do then.
Like you said, Sinclair is trying to acquire Tribune. That'll give them about 40 new stations. But in general, in terms of local news and mergers of companies, how does big business affect local news, and what could a Sinclair Tribune acquisition mean going forward?
I mean, you saw it right there, how big business affects local news. The thing about news is that it's controlled by the top. Whoever is in charge of these stations, whoever's in charge of Fox, NBC, CBS, gets to at least control part of the message. And you see the dangers of that in that Sinclair video. You might not think it's that bad, but the danger is more what it could happen, what it could lead up to. So if news is controlled by these certain people, they're able to get their agenda out there more than somebody who doesn't have that kind of power. So it creates this kind of pyramid system where very few people have a lot of this power to even convince people what to think a little bit. And that's not what we think of news as, and it's not what news should be.
Right, and it'll certainly be interesting going forward to see if we see more of this or if the backlash against Sinclair will make this come to a stop. Dan Prager, thanks so much for joining me. That's all the time we have on this Talking Points webisode. For more Talking Points content like full shows, articles, and webisodes, visit CitrusTV.com and follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News. Be sure to tune in next Thursday for a brand new episode of Talking Points. For Dan Prager and everyone here at Citrus TV, I'm Gilat Melamed.